And there we are. Awesome. The Bucket List Life with me, Trav Bell podcast. Here we go, using StreamYard for the first time. And I've got an amazing guest on today, Leanne Blaney. Leanne, how are you?
I'm great, thanks, Trav. I'm looking forward to having a bit of a talk to you.
Yeah. Now, whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm up at Redcliffe, which is just north of Brisbane in Queensland, Australia.
Very cool. That's right near Brisbane, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. It's not far. We like to say we're just out of the city, so yeah.
Yeah. Now, what do you put on when we used to fly? Remember, we're right in the middle of COVID right now, and when we used to fly, what do you put on your incoming passenger card as your occupation?
Yeah, a lot of the time I used to put adventure coach or self-employed, just something like that. But now I love putting the bucket list coach.
There you go. And you are one of our esteemed colleagues in our bucket list coach community, and we'll sort of want to unpack that today, but also like dig into, what were you doing before becoming a certified bucket list coach?
Yeah, well, I was working in government for a long time, and it was only about 4 years ago, after a bit of study in personal development, that I decided to have my own business. And I was doing life coaching, but I was calling myself an adventure coach because I wanted to do more of that stuff of getting people out there. So I was getting people sort of, doing the life coaching stuff, but it was more like looking forward, going, what can we do? And I was putting in a lot of lists of, these are the adventures that you can have. And I was sort of talking about, I don't like the word bucket list, because everyone was saying, but that means you're going to do things before you die. So I was trying to recreate that whole, no, do an adventure list then. And then when this came along, you're thinking, okay, let's not just get away with the whole bucket list. Let's redefine it, like you've been saying. And that's what really appealed to me. So that's why I wanted to become a certified bucket list coach.
No, awesome. What sort of adventures have you been on, in terms of like your reverse bucket list? What are kind of, which we talk about? We talk about 3 lists, don't we? We talk about a reverse bucket list, everything that we've done up until this point in our lives. We talk about our future bucket list, and we've also got another list that starts with F and ends with IT, bucket list, and that's all the shit that you don't want to do. So we've got 3 lists, kids, 3 lists. But first, it's really important to start off with your reverse bucket list, isn't it? And you've seen that with your clients, is because it's a big gratitude exercise. So what have been some of the top, like the top 3 things that you've, say, done on your reverse bucket list? And tell us some stories.
Yeah, there's definitely been quite a lot, because when I first did this exercise, and I think it was with you when I first found out, reverse bucket list, I used to do it as a gratitude exercise, but I thought, I don't know, what have I done? Because you can think of all the bad things, but then you start thinking, okay, well, I've actually written a book, and that was been something on my bucket list, since I was a kid. I wanted to write a book. Like you've just got your book out.
Yeah.
But I thought, that's what I want to do. So I wrote that, and that was called Balance, Adventure School for Women.
Oh, tell us more about that. And just do a little plug on it. I know we didn't plan it, but do a little plug for it too.
Well, I wanted to write something where, and because I was working a lot with women like me who was like over 40, thinking, what the hell, is there more to life than this? I'm starting to ask all those questions. And so I wanted to go, okay, well, what's the foundation? What do women want? So they want a bit of balance, which is getting grounded, getting centered, not work-life balance. I don't believe in that. I think it's more about balance within you. Yeah. And then I wanted them to see, okay, once you've got that groundedness, that centeredness, you can actually go out there and start living your life, start focusing on what you do want. So I wrote this book called Adventure School, like Balance Adventure School for Women. So
cool. Where can people grab a copy of that?
Yeah, from my website, leanneblaney.com, they can buy a copy, and I can sign it for them and put it out. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so that you've done the book, and having just published my book, the My Bucket List Blueprint, after like 10 years. It's been, talk about a battle of procrastination and perfectionism. So I didn't really give it much merit until I actually published one, of just how hardcore of an emotional roller coaster this is. So, anyone who says they're an author, I'm like, respect. Totally respect it. I respect it a hell of a lot more than I used to. Okay, the other two things on your reverse bucket list, go for it.
Well, because I'm a big animal advocate, I adopted my first greyhound because I really dislike the greyhound racing side of things. So I wanted to. Well, I had a couple of dogs, but I'd always thought in the back of my mind, when they passed, because they passed at 16, I thought I really want to get something like a greyhound so I can say, okay, I'm helping out that industry. I want that industry to stop, and I'm helping out those dogs that just need to be rehomed. So I got my dog Fred, and he's just the most beautiful thing that's been added to my life, and it's just. I see it as one of the categories of kindness to others, which is to me is to animals, because I am huge with looking after animals.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. That's totally random, and I absolutely love it. There you go.
I love the randomness.
Nice. Randoms are better. What else we got?
Well, another thing that I did was, as a child, I had read a lot of books about, traveling. I thought I wanted to get out of Australia. My parents had never traveled, and they never talked about traveling outside of Australia. But I thought, there's got to be so much out there. So I wanted to go to France. Paris was always on my bucket list, and specifically to climb the Eiffel Tower. And I don't know why, I just really wanted to do things in Paris. So I ended up doing that with 5 days, and I did all the things that I wanted to do in Paris. And, to me, that was, even though I've been to Europe a couple of times and done a lot of different things in travel, to me it was iconic because that was when I was a child, a little girl dreaming. And that's one thing I dreamt of doing, is climbing that Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely love it. All right, well, I have to ask about the future, what we've got coming up, and what are the 3 things on your future bucket list?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. There's so many things. Being a bucket list coach, we just keep adding to it, don't we, all the time? So I was thinking, well, what's the future going to hold for me? What can I do, in the near future? And there's things like conquer fear. Well, yeah, someone says rescue dogs are the best. They certainly are.
Sarah over on Facebook is that rescue dogs are the best. Yeah, I used to have a rescue dog as well. But, and Sarah also loves Paris. Who doesn't love Paris?
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Sarah. So what were they again?
Yeah, so I want to conquer some fears. So my fear is around needles, but I'd like to be able to donate blood. So getting over the needle fear is to be able to donate blood. So I know a lot of people sort of have that sort of fear, but that's really something I want to do. And the other part of that is the needles. I want to get a tattoo, but what's always stopped me is, again, the needles, something.
Come on, mate. Let's go. Now, let's dig into this. I love there are so many people, and respectfully, when we get a little bit older, we think, oh no, I'm not going to get tattoos. But so many I've been the bucket list guy for about 10 years, right? The amount of older people who want to get tattoos because they haven't got one is amazing. Like, there's so many people. So what's it going to be about? What's the tattoo? Go.
The tattoos.
Big dragon?
No, not a big dragon. It's what it is. It's actually my star sign, and it's Cancer, and it's a 69 because I was born in 1969, and it'll have a stars around it. One, a big one for my daughter, and 2 for my grandbabies now, 2 little stars. So I've thought about it.
Where you put that one. You've got to be careful where you put that one.
I know, it's a great year I was born in.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, this is cool. Hey, by the way, if anyone's watching out there, have you guys got tattoos? Let me know. And what are they? Let us know. So this is live. We're live on Facebook. We're within a couple of groups within Facebook, and also live on YouTube as well. So I'd love to hear if you've got ink. And what are also what are the top bucket list items that you can think of right now? I'd love to get some of those comments up right now. Let's do it. Hey, why did you become a bucket list coach?
I think it just added to what I was doing. I mean, I was calling myself an adventure coach anyway, and I was helping people start living every day and focusing on what they do want and not what they don't want. So when I could get something that was like a framework and be part of this huge community of bucket list coaches all over the world, I didn't even sort of hesitate. I'm thinking, no, this is for me. This is what I do. It's what my life is about. And hey, why wouldn't you when you get to do your own bucket list as well? I mean, you got to show everyone, be the role model and do your own bucket list. So
when you go out there and say, oh, I'm a certified bucket list coach, what are people? What's their reaction? I'm literally so interested in it because it's so different for me and all of our other coaches. And what's their reaction when they say that? When you say that?
I've been standing up at networking events and I go, I'm a certified bucket list coach, and they're looking, I go, yeah, it is a real thing. It is something that will help you. And then I'll go on and talk to the benefits of, living that bucket list life and doing it now purposefully rather than waiting. So you do get that sort of look at you, but then they get really interested and go, oh, tell me more. And so you get that excitement and they go, oh, well, I've done this and I want to do that. And people get really involved in the conversation.
Yeah. And why? And what? Why do you love being a certified bucket list coach?
I think it's when I see the excitement that other people get when they start, especially when you do the bucket list board workshops, they start thinking, well, I don't know what I want to do. There's 12 categories. It's a lot. And then they start talking to each other and they get excited. And then they go, oh, I can help you with that one. And it just builds that community. And I think people just want something to get excited about, like that anticipation of a holiday. When people talk about a holiday in the future, they get really excited and passionate. That's what I love when it comes to the bucket listing.
Yeah, we've got something here from Sarah once again. We're loving you, Sarah. She's currently writing my first novel. It's scary, confronting, but I love it. I've always wanted to write a novel, and 2020 was the push I needed. Sarah, exactly the same over here. I had to wait until COVID, so I wasn't on a plane. I was in lockdown to get this done. I could not start 2021 without this having to, like, no more excuses, Sarah. Like we're quite restricted in what we do. I couldn't be on a plane, so I had to bite the bullet. But look, if you need help, reach out to your mate Leanne here, or reach out to myself. We'll try and give you some tips as good as it. But nothing is like just gun to your head motivation. Just get it done, get it completed. We could probably even put you in contact with some publishers and stuff as well if people are watching this too. So fantastic, Sarah. Thanks a lot. And look, Leanne, with regards to helping people in their bucket list, what's an example of someone that has been to one of your workshops? And we're running all these workshops, with our certified bucket list coaches around the world. We're running our workshops. Well, we got coaches in like 22 countries at the time of going to air here, and we're running, all sorts of different programs in the world for public and as well as private, like within companies, for small groups and also really big groups. And the cool thing, best part of being the founder of CEO of Bucket List Coach is when you go run your first workshops, whenever like coaches go run our first workshops and they come back and they go, I get it. And the lights really go on. Give us an example of, where you've had that kind of aha moment.
I think it's probably the first one I did. When I did my very first one, I thought, I just want to run this and see how it goes and see what sort of reaction I get. So I got some friends together and they sort of knew what I was doing and what I was getting into. But what they didn't realise is what they were actually going to get out of it. They thought they were going to just be test cases. But what's happened is I've actually got really excited about it and thinking, now that they're the best sort of people to talk about what I do, because they've actually experienced it and realised that the bucket list isn't just about jumping out of a plane. It isn't just about doing that ultimate challenge like a marathon. It's so much more. Yeah. And they've come up with things like one of them, she wanted to do a stand-up on live doing a comedy act. And I think that's one of yours too, Trav. Yeah. Yeah,
we don't need to talk about that. Tell me about that. I'm shitting myself. This is like, I've jumped out of planes, I've done the marathon, I've done all that stuff, but literally standing in front of an audience, and I'm a professional public speaker, for God's sake, but still, stand-up comedy scares the shit out of me. Oh my God, what's her name?
Her name's Jo Stevens, and she's got the Zen Zone, and she's actually she was very, very. She felt funny about getting out there and showing her true personality because she's got some great stuff that she does. But this, I think, actually up-leveled her. So she stood up and she's gone, right, I've done it. So she's done it once now. I don't think she invited a lot of people, but she's going to do it again now that she's done it. But she's gone just in her business. She is so out there now and doing so much more.
That's the thing, right? That's the thing, isn't it? It's when you put it something small, maybe it's, something small to us, but big to them, or big to us if it's our list. But it's really about how the flow-on effect of overcoming fears and that emotional roller coaster that you go through and overcoming those fears and the ripple effect. So, and it's really about how a person reverse engineers every aspect of their life in order to make this stuff come to fruition. It's the growth of us on the journey kind of towards these self-imposed destinations, right? And more excitedly, it's about the person, us, the bigger version of us that exists on the other side of our bucket list, the person that we don't know yet. And that's what we want as collectively, right? This is what we, as coaches, we want to, take people to that and get more curious and discover more of their own potential, because that puts a smile on our face. It's all about fulfillment and happiness. And so that's awesome. And that has had a big ripple effect, has it, in her life?
It definitely has. Yeah, I've seen her business go,
So
great
cool.
guns now. And she's just, it's so vibrant. And you can see people when they're living this sort of life, pushing themselves, even if it's only a little bit outside their comfort zone, they're just so much more vibrant and want to talk about things, and they're getting out there a lot more. And they're willing to take a few more risks. That's what I found even with myself. I'm taking more risks because I'm actually pushing myself a little bit more all the time.
Yeah. So would it be fair to say that you kind of like when you're a coach doing this stuff, that you're kind of like a compass for people, like help people and businesses, you help them recalibrate? Or?
Yeah, it's a great question, because my logo is actually a compass, and I love the compass.
Too.
Yeah, and I've always thought,
I
just love using that as a metaphor of saying I help people find that direction that they're looking for, because a lot of people get stuck and don't know which direction. So I help them navigate those rough waters. So it's like a metaphor that I use to help them recalibrate their lives.
Oh, you've been doing that for ages, haven't you? Yeah, unreal. Yeah, and it's all about recalibration, right? And right now, and especially right now, I think the world has taken a big collective deep breath in, haven't they? And we've been forced to recalibrate. But it's not just us doing it by ourselves. The whole world has had that big recalibration. I'm sure that you've seen it up there in Brisbane. I know we have it in Australia, but maybe people watching from overseas, and you've probably done this yourself in this recalibration. What am I? Have I got more? Have I got meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in my life? Am I happy? Am I happy in this job? Have you seen a lot of that recalibration sort of going on lately?
I definitely have. People are rethinking, like they've had a lot more time, I suppose, to think about what their lives actually mean, because they have been, and I say stuck, but they sort of are at home and they're okay with Groundhog Day when they've got things are all going fine. But when things aren't going fine, they're going, oh, well, what's actually really going on? And they are finding out that they're not actually living their life, and they're having to think, well, what really does light me up? What would I like to do? And these questions are coming in because we've had so much chaos come into our lives due to the restrictions in 2020, what it was like, that people need to think, well, how can I actually make life different? How can I stop taking life for granted? And so I have been seeing and having those conversations with people.
Yeah. And add to that too, Leanne, I'm sure that you'd agree, don't just do it for yourself, but do it for your family as well. And the programs that you and all the other coaches run is, I guess, a chance, isn't it, to take time out of our lives, to work on our lives, to get into a safe, secure, supportive, ecosystem with possibly other people, whether it be in your company or whether it be, a public program, and take that time out to separate your daily to-do list from your bucket list and really think deep, and to be supported and to be guided through the frameworks and everything that we do, and to be held accountable, most importantly. That's why, one of the things, I don't know if we've talked about it much, Leanne, there's a lot of companies actually ringing up, right, calling our coaches right now, where they've got a remote work team. They're not all in the office together. They've got a remote work team now, or a hybrid mix of kind of in the office, out of the office. But for the large majority right now here in Australia, people seem to be working at home. And we've had CEOs, we've had, HR people call us up and say, we just want a positive excuse to bring everyone together online and talk about something other than work. We want to talk about life. And because people are really, thinking this stuff through and recalibrating, as you said before. And the cool thing is we're doing it as a group, and it's really affecting their life in a very, very personal way, and giving them a light at the end of the tunnel, end of the COVID tunnel. And this stuff really does affect culture. And I've probably seen it more than anyone within our network anyway, of where it really does get people of like all places within the organizational chart, all talking, strangers talking to one another on a values-based level that they've never talked about before. And it really opens up conversation. Baby boomers are talking to iGens, and iGens are talking to Gen X's, and that's what's really cool. And I had no idea when we set this up, the cultural benefit that it really does, the communication benefit that it really does, happen as a result of these programs. And it's so cool. You know, we're doing it at a micro level and a macro level, around the world now, and you're flying the flag up there in Brisbane, absolutely loving it. But more importantly, you're living the message, Leanne. I love that. And that's why we're doing this together, which is...
I think that's right, because you've got to be out there living it to show people, what your life can be like. And I think I've shown a lot of people that resilience is something. I'm a very resilient person because I have been living this life. And there's people that haven't coped with what's actually happened. The ones that haven't been resilient, don't have that focus on their happiness, on their life ahead.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, everything that we've been teaching within Bucket List Coach anyway, is mostly based on positive psychology. Positive psychology is performance-based psychology. It's about helping people discover more meaning, what gives them more meaning, purpose, and fulfillment, more gratitude in their life. And we've just put this kind of bucket list, I guess, brand over the top of it to make it more tangible for people. But what would you say the uniqueness, something unique about our process? I've just sort of explained a little bit of it, but what's something unique about our processes that springs to mind for you?
I think you sort of spoke about it, is that we have got a framework. It is not like we talk about life coaching and we know as life coaches the benefits, but people don't understand that. It's not tangible, and until you actually experience it, you don't really know what you're going to get. Whereas this, you can actually say it's tangible. It's a framework. It's unique in that we're focusing on happiness, not all the things that would have happened a long time ago. Yes, you may need to look at those at some stage, but come on, we need to look at what's success to you. Is it the destination or is it the journey? And to me, it's the journey. And that's what I think it's unique about our program, is that we focus on the journey rather than, that time when we're going to retire or that time when we're on our deathbed.
Yeah, there is no someday. Someday ain't a day of the week, kids, and there is no perfect time. A lot of people are doing things on their bucket list right now like instead of traveling around the world doing the things that typically are on people's bucket list, we're encouraging people to be a tourist in their own hometown first. People are really rediscovering a lot of things that they want to do right now. What would you say, in terms of the programs that we do, what would you say the benefits to people are, and to maybe companies as well?
Yeah, I think it's whether it's a company or individuals, it's building community. It's building that connection, because we have disconnected a lot. I know I've listened to you talk a lot about the loneliness epidemic, and it is a real thing out there. We've disconnected a lot.
Big time. Yeah.
And people are lonely, and it's shown that when we've actually got to be stuck in our houses, how lonely people do get, how they can't cope. So I think that's a huge benefit of doing this type of thing and building that community. But there's also
I've talked about it, but I haven't heard it be put together like that. So thank you for that. It's awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Another one is the mental health benefits, because we know a lot of people, they haven't got that resilience. There's so much depression and so much, unfortunately, I don't like to talk about it, but we have so much suicide now, especially youth suicide. So there's a lot of those things that are happening out there, that because people just can't see how to live their life. They don't have that resilience that we used to have, I suppose, years ago, because it's just the way that life has changed and society has changed. So I think that's
I think we've got to talk about it. The statistics don't lie, and what we're trying to do is change the conversation, change the narrative. Whether it be in a small community group or something like that, or a large scale multinational company. This is our little way to hopefully change that conversation, and maybe, because I've been doing this for like 10 years, and then we've brought in you guys as coaches, and now you're starting to see the stuff that I've been saying for the last 10 years. We've helped people, really give them tools to come out of, like to battle their depression, give them light at the end of the tunnel. There's a heap of people who've been on suicide watch, and maybe we were there, right place, right time, where the light has just gone on for them, not off, but gone on for them. at that point. But for other people who have just got it totally together, not just about helping the broken or any people, but this just might be icing on the cake for a lot of people to get them to rethink and to re-engage, and that's actually another reason why we do this, to get people engaged in life, and if you're engaged in life, or you're engaged in your bucket list life plan, as we say, you'll be engaged in your career plan and your business plan. It has a direct waterfall effect. It's really cool, right? So what would you say, like, talking about all that, what would be the 3 biggest problems that the programs would solve if you could isolate them?
Yeah, I think, well, when you talk about businesses and that, especially, it's the problems are, a lot of our employees, there's a high turnover these days. We know there's a high turnover of staff. There's a lot of that, they feel disconnected. They feel they have no ownership when they go to work. It's like they get treated like, oh, it's just a job, whereas a lot of people think, if they were more involved or had their message was heard, they feel a bit more significance. And when they feel significance, it obviously overflows into other areas of their life. So I feel that when they become more engaged, this will actually happen, because it is a thing where we have a lot of turnover. We have staff that is not productive, and when you've got that common goal with everyone else, your productivity will go. It's been proven. You've got the stats to show that productivity goes up when you've got that common goal. People get excited about things together, and they build those teams and work together.
Yep. No, 100%. And yeah, really well put there. And so the purpose, the purpose of the program, like the overall purpose of the programs, what would you say that is? Because everyone has a different way of kind of explaining it.
Yeah, I think it's really to give more meaning and purpose to your life, because a lot of people, and especially the women that I've been working with, and that's been my target market, I suppose, if you want to put it that way, is that they don't have that purpose. They go, well, the kids have left, or I don't have any purpose in my life. I don't know what to do. Am I waiting for retirement? So to me, it's getting more engagement in your life, taking more control and focusing on what you want, not what you don't want, because it's so easy for us to focus on that. And I think I've heard you say, and many of us as coaches say, what you focus on is what you get. So if you focus on good things and your happiness and your engagement with people, your relationships and everything can just flourish.
100%. Yeah, it's really cool. And so I've got on every Bucket List Life podcast, I ask this question. And kind of in summary here, imagine a big stadium full of people, right? And you've got a big booming microphone on a raised stage at the front. And I always ask, what would you like to say through the microphone? And who do you choose to be in the audience?
Yeah, big question, isn't it? I think
put you on the spot.
It is, but that's okay. I can work with that. That's the one thing about doing this bucket list stuff and getting myself out of my comfort zone. I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's go.
So I think, the message that I want to get across to people, and it's one I've been talking about a lot, even with my adventure coaching, is stop being so serious about life. Life is meant to be fun,
Yeah.
Everything's too serious, and that's why we get so bogged down with everything. So I think, stop being so serious, get out and have some fun. And who I'd love to be in the audience is just anyone who wants to change their life around. Like, to me, it doesn't have to be the celebrities. It doesn't have to be just businesses. It's just anyone who wants to start thinking there's more to life. How can I change that around? And this is the most simplest message I can give them. Stop being so serious. Get out and do some idiotic stuff.
Yeah. Stop. We all grow up and we become all serious, but do it on behalf of your kids. Be the example for others to follow.
Yeah.
Be the leader in your company for others to follow. And I tell you what, you've explained everything in such a really cool way. Now I know you got a bunch of programs. You know what we do within Bucket List Coach. We set these yearly goals and 90-day plans and stuff like that. You've got some stuff coming up that people can be involved in. And also, how can they be, get in contact with you as well, Leanne?
Probably the best place is my website, which is leanneblaney.com. It's the easiest one because I have all my events up there. I talk about bucket listing, and I also talk about balance and getting my book and that type of thing. So it's a holistic way my business is. So I've got a webinar coming up where I'm doing a free online event just to talk about the bucket list formula. just, to get people start thinking about why they might want to do a bucket list. And then I am running face-to-face and online bucket list board workshops where we get to create this beautiful vision board of all the things that you really want to do and start getting you excited. So that's what first, up until March, that's what I'll be doing. And then after that, well, so many things happening.
Come on. And we've just put up leanneblaney.com, so check that out. And make sure you connect with Leanne. She's got a heart of gold, guys. And I just want you to, just I'm really grateful that you're part of our community, Leanne, and hopefully, people reach out to you via the different platforms as well and get involved in one of your programs. Now, you're doing them face-to-face and you're doing them online as well, yeah?
That's right. I'm doing both, so it caters for anybody. So I can do my local community, and as well as people who, all over the world, all over Australia, if they want to join as well.
All right, fantastic. All right, Bucket List Life podcast. There we go. Leanne Blaney, one of our certified bucket list coaches, guys. Thanks a heap, Leanne, and guys. I said, reach out, live your bucket list life before it's too late. Don't wait until you get a use-by date. This has been me, your host, Trav Bell, the Bucket List Guy, with Leanne Blaney. Another episode. There we go. See you guys.